what needs to be done in order to generate e-commerce sales in 2025. I've had the chance to work with both startups and very large businesses. And throughout my time, I've been able to acquire a lot of learnings and insights on what consistently works and what doesn't across many different categories. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing actionable insights on what's currently working right now across all of the e-commerce businesses that I work with. This is not going to be any theory or concept. These are actually working right now, which is very important because this e-commerce space moves fast. And so it's very important to make sure you stay up to date with what's currently working right now. And so with that said, let's get right into it. So I took the time to review all of the e-commerce businesses that I currently work with. And I wanted to go over basically what I see being done by e-commerce businesses that are not doing as well and are outdated versus the ones that are thriving and are actually doing super well. And then I obviously wanted to cover the opposite, right? All the things that are working and give you guys that clarity in case you're running an e-commerce business. So I broke things down into different components and I'll kind of cover each and every single one. So one of the misconceptions that I commonly see in the e-commerce space is that people think that it's one variable or the other, meaning that some people think that it's only the product that they need to have optimized and well put together, or their ads or their website. Nobody that I ever come across starts off with the fact that it's an ecosystem and you need all of the variables cohesively working together and optimized in order to actually get the best performance. And so I wanted to just break down just a couple of the main components that go into any e-commerce business, right? There are, of course, other components, but I wanted to really just focus on these because for most e-commerce businesses, these are some of the components that are really driving majority of the overall revenue and sales. And so with that said, first we have website. So typically I get the chance to speak with many different e-commerce business owners every single week, and I get the chance to review many different websites, right? And when I do, one of the things that I notice from the e-commerce businesses that are not doing as well is that they're still focusing on having a website that is not optimized and well put together. Really what that looks like is a suboptimal user experience, right? When you go on their website, they have distractions, they have this pop-up, they have that live chat, so much going on that it really doesn't allow a possible customer to just go in and focus on what they're offering, right? There's just so much more going on. And so this is something that I commonly see. Next is I also get the chance to look behind the scenes on what's actually happening on the back end, right? I get to see their dashboards, and this usually ends up leading to low conversion rates and low average order values. And so your website is the heart and blood of your e-commerce business. And so if you don't have a well-optimized website, well, that's automatically going to cause a leak within your ecosystem, which is going to result in not the most optimal performance. Moving on to offer. This is an area where I see a lot of newer e-commerce business owners not really focus as much on. And really, this is a very important element. And usually what I see is that a lot of the businesses, again, that are not doing the best, that are still using a lot of the old methods to e-commerce, they basically have no actual compelling offer in place, right? You basically just come on their website, you go on the product page. Maybe if they're a business that's focused on subscriptions, they have like a standard subscription offer where you can get a simple discount if you subscribe, but that's it, right? If you look at other leading e-commerce brands, it's almost always the opposite, where they have compelling offers whether you're subscribing or not, right? And so this is something that for sure needs to be emphasized a lot more when you're a newer e-commerce business. You need to have actual incentives to give customers a reason to take the leap of faith and actually purchase from you, right? So this is very important. I very commonly see that there are very limited promotions that are being done as well. There's a lot of missed opportunity because ideally every single business can take advantage of peak moments that's correlated to their business. The next thing that I usually see is that a lot of these e-commerce businesses that are not doing as well and that are still leveraging outdated methods is that they don't take advantage of many promotions, right? They basically throughout the entire year only run a limited amount of promotions. And I think this is a very big mistake because every e-commerce business can have peak moments that they capitalize on. And so this is something that I very often see commonly done. And then last but not least, under offers, I do typically see that if there is any type of like offer testing being done, there's no tracking being done in terms of like what kind of actual performance they're seeing from this offer versus another, right? And so they're basically just testing random offers that they think would work without actually looking at their actual data to look at if their offers that they're running are actually making a difference on their business. When it comes to offers, those are really the main things that I usually see. Moving on to organic marketing. So from my experience, again, I've been in the e-commerce space since 2017, and I've seen mixed takes when it comes to organic marketing. I would say really when I first got started, organic marketing was pretty big because back then with the main channels, which is Facebook and Instagram, you could actually get really good reach when you would post organically, even if you're an e-commerce business. Fast forward to now, the reach you can get on Facebook and Instagram, which are the two biggest channels, it's not really that great. Like, let's be honest. And so, however, I have seen a rise of the importance of organic marketing coming into the most recent 2 years, I would say. Right now, what I'm noticing is that businesses that are still not putting much importance on organic marketing, they are struggling more than businesses that are putting a lot of efforts, time, energy to their organic marketing. And so this is something that I see commonly being done by, again, businesses that are still leveraging outdated models, is that they're not really focusing at all on the organic marketing. Also, they're not adapting to any algorithm changes. So they're not taking the time to get familiar with how the algorithm is currently working, what kind of content the algorithm is currently favoriting, and how they can use that to their advantage and more, right? And then last but not least, they're not leveraging all of the possible channels. They'll use Facebook or Instagram or like Pinterest or TikTok or YouTube, but very rarely do these e-commerce businesses that are not doing well and are still running with outdated models, do they ever leverage all the channels that are out there, even though they have the content that's a perfect fit to use across all of the channels that make sense for them to be on. And so this is something that I commonly see being done. Moving on to paid social. So of course, for many e-commerce businesses, paid social is a big driver of sales. It's how they introduce their products to a brand new audience. Now, there are many things that I see commonly being done across, again, e-commerce businesses that are not doing the best and that are still using outdated strategies when it comes to paid social. So one of the things that I commonly see is that they have unengaging ad creatives. They're not taking the time to come up with different ideas, different angles, or just different overall concepts when it comes to the creatives, even though in our current day and age, when it comes to paid social ads, the most important variable is your actual creatives. It's no longer a game of who does the best actual media buying. It's literally like 80% creative. And so obviously, if you have unengaging ad creatives, you're not going to see the performance that you're looking for. Next, something that I see commonly done is that there is no strategic testing approach. They basically are just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Whatever sticks, they look to double down on it, and then they'll run that until it works. And then once it stops working, then they'll get back to the drawing board to, again, just throw things against the wall and see what sticks again. There's no actual strategy in place. And then last but not least, very common correlation that I typically see is that this ends up resulting in a low ROAS or high customer acquisition cost, right? This is something that I see very consistently as I'm auditing many different e-commerce brands, business managers, and looking through their actual performance. And so those are the main things that I'm seeing when it comes to paid social. Now, moving on to paid search, very common for a lot of e-commerce businesses to leverage paid search. Now, something that I commonly see all the time is that most e-commerce businesses that are still leveraging these old concepts and old strategies that previously worked in past years, they basically utilize a very small percentage of the actual opportunities across paid search, right? They're not leveraging, Google search to its full extent. They're not leveraging Google shopping to its full extent. They're basically doing the bare minimum, sitting back and like running a PMAX campaign, letting Google do all the heavy lifting, and that's it, right? The next thing that I see is that there's almost always never any segmentation between non-brand campaigns and brand campaigns. Of course, this is very important because this is how you segment, your cold audiences that you're targeting with certain campaigns versus, warm audiences that you're targeting with other campaigns. And then last but not least, what I end up seeing is that within their Google Ads account, they end up seeing a very high ROAS, very good performance. However, majority of that performance is coming from branded and warm traffic. And so they're not actually using paid search to generate any new customers. They're just using it to convert customers that were already going to purchase in the first place. And so these are the main things that I see commonly being done by e-commerce businesses that are not doing as well and that are still leveraging old, outdated strategies in e-commerce. Now, moving on to the opposite end of the spectrum, and a lot of the things that we actually help all the e-commerce businesses that we work with do are here, right? So just to kind of break these down, In my opinion, in 2025, if you're looking to grow your e-commerce business to $300,000 a month and beyond in sales, you need to be doing all of these things across all these components. And again, there are more components when it comes to e-commerce, but these are usually the ones that are driving majority of the sales most of the time for most e-commerce businesses. And so just to kind of cover these, we have website. So for the e-commerce businesses that I see doing the best, almost always they have a very good user experience, right? They're taking the time to actually study the behavior that people are taking when they visit their website, and then they're optimizing from that. They have very high conversion rates, on average ranging anywhere from like 3 to 5%, which is fairly high for industry standards. They also have higher average order values than businesses that don't focus on increasing and improving their average order value. Now, moving on to offers, what I typically see is that these businesses do take the time to actually create compelling offers, right? Whether it's an offer for a brand new customer just to purchase in the first place, or whether it's an offer for to get them to subscribe, right? They're taking the time to actually put together compelling ideas of different offers that they can try out with their audience. They also run regular promotions, right? They have a full marketing calendar outlining all of the peak moments that they can take advantage of for their business specifically. And they're measuring how those actual offers are performing, right? And so whenever they go back and test any other offer, they're looking back at what worked in the past and what didn't and making strategic decisions. You're going to notice a common trend within all of the different components, and it's that they're taking a much more strategic approach to most of the things that they do. Now, when it comes to organic marketing, a consistent trend that I'm seeing across the board, across all of the e-commerce businesses that we work with, is that the businesses that are taking the time to invest more time, energy, and resources into the organic marketing, both in-house with having their own internal content creators, as well as working with like third-party and external content creators, they are getting much better performance overall with all of their marketing efforts compared to the businesses that are not. These are some additional things that I am also seeing is that they almost always have a well-planned content strategy. They are constantly adapting to the algorithm and the changes, right? If something goes live, and for example, right now with Instagram, they're pushing a lot more reels, then they're adapting their strategy to that. They're not focusing on only posting static images because the static images is not going to a brand new audience. They're focusing more on reels because reels, Instagram is literally telling you that reels are being pushed more to new audiences compared to static images. And so they're staying on top of those trends. And then last but not least, they are taking the time to leverage as many possible channels as it makes sense for them to take advantage of, right? There are some businesses where it makes sense for them to be on YouTube, Pinterest, and TikTok. There are some businesses that it doesn't make sense for them to be on those channels, but for them, it makes sense to be on Facebook and YouTube. And so what I'm seeing is that for these businesses, they are fully maximizing all of their efforts when it comes to organic marketing. And they're basically treating their organic marketing as if it's paid marketing, right? They're literally giving it as much attention, energy, and efforts as they would to their paid social ads. And again, this is playing a very big role for these businesses. Moving on to paid social. So for paid social, one of the things that I commonly see being done is they have a creative testing framework, right? They're actually approaching paid social ads with the idea in mind that creatives is everything, right? Majority of their efforts should be on the actual creatives because you can have one creative that's currently getting, a 2x overall return on ad spend, and then launch a new creative that can double in performance that can get you a 4x return on ad spend. And so they're actually taking the time to put together frameworks to actually test new creatives. Also, they have an ad optimization flywheel in place, meaning that whenever they run a test, they're not just running a random test. They're taking the time to document whatever does not work, they stay away from. Whatever does work, they double down on, and then they continue to create new strategic tests based on what worked. And then they continue the optimization flywheel, running tests, leaning very heavily into what they're seeing working from past tests that they ran in the past. So they're doing the exact opposite of what other e-commerce businesses do, which is just throw random tests against the wall and see what sticks. And then usually with a combination of these things, I am seeing that these businesses are seeing a much more improved overall return on ad spend and a much more reduced customer acquisition cost. Now, moving on to paid search. The e-commerce businesses that I see doing the best with paid search, they are using full funnel infrastructures. What I mean by that is they have their account set up in a way where they have specific campaigns for top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. and they're taking full control over their account using standard campaigns. They're not just sitting back and using PMAX campaigns and letting Google do all the heavy lifting for them. They're actually taking the time to, create an actual structure within their account that focuses on generating new customers and also re-engaging potential customers. They are taking the time to fully segment brand campaigns and non-brand campaigns and making sure that there is no overlap between the two. This is big. This plays a big role when it comes to getting good results with Google Ads and actually measuring your true performance. And then last but not least, I'm seeing that a combination of these is usually leading to a much more balanced ROAS and a much more diverse traffic set where you have, of course, warm traffic, but you also have efforts that are going towards cold traffic with the intention of generating net new customers. And so, all in all, I feel very confident that if you're an e-commerce business and you're not getting the results that you're looking for, it's very likely that there is a gap between one of these components, right? There's either something happening within the website, within the offer, within your organic marketing, within your paid social, or your paid search, or your attention, or your email marketing, or your Amazon efforts, right? I didn't include those here, but those are also important. The overall takeaway that I want to drive home is that when it comes to e-commerce, to really give it your best shot and put yourself in a position to truly win and get the best possible results, you need to have a look at the entire ecosystem as a whole. There's never going to be a time where it's going to be one component versus the other. And so, all in all, I hope that this has been helpful. I try to include as many actionable insights on, again, what's currently working right now. All of these things, like I said, are things that I'm currently seeing behind the scenes and that I'm publicly sharing, right? I have other videos that I'm sharing like live results going inside of like some of the e-commerce businesses that we work with and actually showcasing their numbers in real time. So you can see that this is not a theory, not a concept. These are actually things that are currently working right now. And so if you're an e-commerce business and you're looking to get help with anything that I covered today in this video, down below in the description, there's going to be a link where you can actually book in a call with me and my team. On that call, we'll get to know more about you and your business, and we'll take the time to go through your website, your offer, your organic marketing, your paid social marketing, your paid search marketing. And then from there, we'll actually put together an action plan, leveraging all of the insights that we currently have from what's currently working right now. And we'll go over how we think that we can help. And then from there, pretty much it's up to you whether you want to just take that action plan and implement everything yourself, or you actually want us to come in and help. That's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions about anything, also feel free to drop them down below. As always, if you guys got any value from this video, I would appreciate if you dropped a like on the video. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe. With that said, I'll see you guys on the next one.